before I explain it, sales is all about psychology. All right.
So today I'm going to share with you all how do you deal with particular style fighters in boxing. And this message is going directly to the trainers because in this book that was written during my tenure as a coach working with some of the top fighters ever, and I have myself experienced over 40 title fights in the world of coaching, advisor, pro am, mixed martial arts, boxing, and I've had even taken my talents to the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars back in 2008. See, the thing about working with these fighters that I wanted to bring this upon you is how do you go about doing this thing? And when you're facing people that are very tough to go up against, and I'm talking about those individuals that have the overall fighting cachet. And I just went with this over one of my coaches who's about to go into the Golden Gloves in about 2 more weeks. And so what we did is we had a discussion based on how should you actually fight against a guy who has a particular style. So during all those training camps, and I say over 40, but it's really closer to 60 because I've done film studies live on television right here on YouTube, Facebook with George Cambosis, go back and forth with guys like Kenny Porter, Coach Kenny Porter, Sean Porter's father. I've had Shane Mosley, guys like this on my show and have mentored these guys. And I'll show you some of the things that I've helped when it came down to help him building his personal brand and helping these guys who are at the top level stay at the top and manifest that stuff. But when you're dealing with these top level fighters, even if it's in the amateur rankings, here's some of the knowledge that I peeled out of when I was actually doing this stuff. And I had the wherewithal to write books while I was doing it, right? So this book right here. I'll tell you what it is very shortly. But in these books gives you a breakdown, play by play of how to deal with any scenario. And I'm talking to you, TikTok, and I'm talking to you, YouTube. The play by play of how to deal with fighters when you are dealing with, just say, for instance, if you were 23 years old and you had to fight Roy Jones Jr., somebody write in the comment boxes, what style of fighter was Roy Jones Jr.? Because fighters fall up under a category, YouTube. They're not just, hey, I come in the boxing ring and I punch. Every fighter falls up under a category. And Roy Jones fell up under the category of not slick fighter, but a pot shotter. This person finds the most vulnerable punches on you. And what they do is they peck and they poke at these punches all night. When I just got off of the call with my guy, letting him know when you're in the elite levels of amateur boxing as well as pros, you have to have an antidote for all of these situations. So in Top Trainer U, it positions our guys to never be in a position that they don't know what to do. The game slows down when you really learn how to make adjustments in a fight and how do you deal with certain type situations. You're in there boxing, and when you're going, it just really gets you really flustered. So when you deal with a pot shotter, the first thing you have to do when you come out is you have to figure exactly out what his game plan is. And somebody write in the comment boxes, what do you think should be that first thing that you do when you're fighting against someone as quick as Roy Jones Jr. in his prime and can stun you with any punch, whether it's the check left hook, short, straight, blazing right hand, liver shot. No matter which one of those punches you choose, he's knocked people out with each of them. Each of them, from Montel Griffin to, you just go on and on. Reggie Johnson, he's pummeled so many different guys. But what was the common denominator on how to deal with a guy like this? And so this is where we create a curriculum. This right here is a 6-week training camp. And you see greats in it like Sugar Ray Robinson, because these are the principles. I'm in a boxing lineage that's over 134 years old. And so a lot of you see me, but you don't realize the depth of what I've done in the sport and what learning tree I've come from. And I take this game serious. And when you're dealing with a guy that's as vicious as Roy Jones was when he was in his early 20s, he was unstoppable, literally the most efficient puncher, meaning he didn't throw a lot of punches, but what he threw, he was going to clock you with. And so, with that being said, how do you deal with this kind of person? The first thing you have to do, play by play, is you have to find out exactly what is it that this guy is going to do. And how do you go about doing that? You throw him a feint. You get right to the center of the ring and you find out what does he want to do. And whoosh. So there are a different variety of these type feints. One feint is when you're dealing with a person and you give them the shoulder. That's one. The other is the head pop. And then I won't get deep into everything else because what we want to do is find out what you want to know. And what you want to know, what's always been something that has given you problems when you've gotten in the ring or you're working with your fighter and you can never get them to do the thing that you asked them to do. We'll get into those type things as we build upon this knowledge. So once you try to see what they are trying to pull out, that's pulling out their whole card. When you typically give them the shoulder feint, they will act as if you're going to throw a punch and they will set to counter you. So you can see if they were going to throw the right hand, if they were going to back out, or if they planning on shooting a jab or check a left hook at you. So once you're dealing with this kind of thing, and make sure over here on TikTok and over here that if this information is giving you some value, you make sure you get me a gift up here. And I don't want to say it again because I'm gonna just press end and that feed will be over. But I'm going to give you generational knowledge. So respect it and show some love. Or I'm going to turn this one off if I don't see something pop up here on the screen soon. Biggest thing is when you got that, he's going to pull that whole card. You're going to create that shift. He's going to show you his hand. And this is what's going on in amateur boxing right now. This year, I watched the national tournaments and I saw better competition than I ever had. And the only other place that there was more competition and it was better was in our gym. We had 7 gold medal Olympians, and we had 4 world champions. And this is talking about all at one time, not simultaneously back to back year after year, but at one time, celebrated and decorated amateurs with over 200 fights. You just won't find that. And every single one of them was a problem. And so when you're dealing with that, that's the only place that I know that there was better. And when we would all get together, any of us talk, he said, can you believe the lineage that we were under? Can you believe the actual talent that we had under one roof all at one time? So that's why it's important that no matter where you're learning from, you better know that there's levels to it. And just because you fought a little bit, maybe been around some fighters or coached a little bit, it's more levels to it than that. Progress just got smoked, literally, and he had a title. That's the difference in boxing, right? When you're boxing, it's a lot more to it than, hey, I used to box. Hey, I used to do this. That has nothing to do with it. I learned from the giants. When you're dealing with these people, there's clarity that you want to get with them. So you want to know how to take these guys' gift away. Because if you don't know what to do when you're dealing with a pot shotter, and let's just say right now, guys like Devin Haney, they'll steal you and they're out. Teofimo Lopez, he'll hit you and he's gone. He's a slippery kind of fighter. One of the things that you got to do is pull him out of his zone. Make sure that you turn him so that they can never get that clean target. And when you get when you counter his counter, you feint, he throws, step in, you close the distance, you rake him. That solar plexus shot is nothing to be playing with. But when you do get them, you make sure you trap them, because once you start trapping those guys, when you start trapping those guys, watch that video when I say sidestep, pivot, close the front door. That is where you trap them. So after you do your pivot, you also take an aggressive step to close the door on those kind of guys. And once you roll their shit, you go left to the body, left to the head, and then back to the body. That three-piece always is required when you're fighting those kind of guys, because it's very rare that you get those opportunities. So when you do, you tap, tap, tap. So practice that trip, pop, pop. That was one of Roy Jones' most significant punches, because the pot shotter needs space. So therefore, you want to take away his space. And when you take away his space, he's crowded. He can't do anything. He can't operate like he typically would want to operate. And so these are several things that you can do when you're dealing with a pot shotter. Now, if you want to see the rest of that, the whole entire video, look, this is the entire, these are all the adjustments that you have to make. If you want to see what that looks like, I'm doing a little webinar for my guys to go over that entire page of adjustments and styles and how to deal with them. If that interests you, make sure, no matter how you have to do it, get us your email address, your cell phone, and what city that you represent. So you can message us, or you can go up to the website and subscribe so that you can get the notification when we do this. There is no charge, but you must be an experienced combat athlete or trainer, because this is high level stuff and you haven't earned your right to be a part of it. So go get your game up and get your level up so you can take part in these kind of things. But as of for right now, I just wanted to make sure that you guys, all right, you better have some good stuff for me. Talk to me, champ. What's good? What's up, man? Talk to me. I gotta go. Block out. Get out of here. I gotta go. I don't hear you. I can't hear you. Go out. Go out and come back in. Go out and come back in. Please. Let me see. But yeah, make sure that you take the time to subscribe if you want to get yourself into that place. Yeah. What's up? Just make sure you DM us.